Hundreds of billions of dollars later, the so-called project of the century is being whispered about as a geopolitical disaster. Ports with barely any ships, airports without planes, highways that die in the mountains, and countries left with the bill. Back in 2013, China sold a grand vision of new Silk Roads stitching Asia, Africa, and Europe together. More than 140 nations signed up, seduced by dreams of Dubai-level skylines and Singapore-style ports under the irresistible pitch. "We'll finance it. You'll grow." Behind the fireworks was a quieter engine. Surplus steel and cement, contractor overcapacity, and a flood of engineering graduates that BRI would export abroad while securing resources, opening markets and expanding influence, with loans that built megaprojects fast, often by Chinese firms. Critics called it debt trap diplomacy. Cheap money now, tough terms later, strategic assets on the line. While Beijing called that propaganda, but across case after case the pattern rhymed. Over-ambition plus weak feasibility and delays equaled debt pain. Sri Lanka's Hambantota Port got the funding and the fanfare. But the ships never came, and in 2017 the country signed a 99-year lease to a Chinese company. Like building a billion-dollar front door and handing over the keys for a century. Nearby, Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport opened with a long runway and a grand terminal, but almost no traffic, earning the nickname the world's emptiest airport. At times, elephants were easier to spot than planes. In Europe's Montenegro, roughly $1 billion bought about 41 kilometers of jaw-dropping bridges and tunnels that still don't connect major economic centers, pushing up debt while growth lagged. Infrastructure without the struct. In Ecuador, the Coca Codo Sinclair hydropower plant, billed as a clean energy showpiece, became a national headache amid reports of thousands of cracks and endless disputes. When your flagship needs constant patchwork, it isn't green, it's grim. Zambia, dependent on copper, was hammered by commodity slumps and COVID. In November 2020 it defaulted, with China as a key creditor at the heart of a complex restructuring, dreams colliding with cash flow reality. In Pakistan, CPEC promised power, jobs, and ports, but progress proved uneven, protests grew, and in Gwadar the revenue split reportedly sends the lion's share to the Chinese operator, leaving locals to ask whose port it really is when the money sails away. Why so many white elephants? Italy, the only G7 country to sign a BRI MAU, bowed out in 2023. Others cancelled, downsized, or renegotiated deals, and the US and EU launched alternatives like PGII and Global Gateway promising more transparency and sustainability. Did China lose? Not so fast. Reputational scars and restructurings on one side, but on the other, stakes or roles in 100-plus ports and stronger export lanes. Partial completion still buys strategic leverage. Enter BRI 2.0. Smaller, greener, digital, and high-quality projects, renewables, data cables, smart logistics, leaner financing. Yet after a decade of pain, borrowers want receipts. Real demand, real jobs, real ROI. The takeaway is brutal. Megaprojects can change destinies or dig holes. If the numbers don't work, the politics won't either. China proved unmatched speed with capital and concrete. But the compounds that truly matter are sustainability, transparency, and local trust. If this opened your eyes, like and subscribe.